today we are going to be looking at the purple Bleach deck from Union Arena. This is going to be my go-to deck for the pretty much entirety of Union Arena, unless they get Gurren Lagann. Then I might dabble in that as well. But obviously we got to have your boy Ichigo as the action points, full playset. God, you just gotta. It's got to look really nice, you know? But let's just get right into it, show you guys what I'm going to be running for this set at least. We have 4 copies of the 0 energy, 1 action point. Ichigo, he's a raid target. That's all you really want him for. After that, we've got 4 copies of the 0 cost, 1 action point Byakuya's. Same thing, he's just a raid target. That's all he's there for. After that, we've got 3 copies of the 0-1 Uryu Ishida. Basically, you want to try to recycle this with the next card that I'm going to show, but you play him, you ditch one to the graveyard, and then you kind of move on from there. He's essentially just there to cycle through your deck just a little bit and use for your big plays later on. But how do we abuse that just a little bit? We got 3 copies of the 1-1 Orihime Inoue. So this one, when you play it, it bounces a card from your field to your hand, and that way you're able to play out the Uryu multiple times. You can play him technically up to 6 times. Getting 6 cards in your trash for basically free is pretty good. And she's a double energy, which is fantastic. We got just 2 of the Oyetsu. Essentially, you want to be able to use this just kind of get over little things that are just kind of annoying, because he just gives 1000 BP to anything on your board for the turn. Pretty useful. It's just kind of situational, but I do like him in this deck. Then we got 4 copies of the 3-1 action point Ichigo Kurosaki. When attacking, he gains 1000. Having a 4000 and raid target on the board is pretty good. You're going to use him quite a lot, and he's a double energy, so you can store him in the back line just to get some extra energy on the board. We got 4 copies of the 3-1 Rukia Kuchiki. When attacking, draw a card, and then send one to the trash. So again, she just fills your trash in, and she's a raid target, which is great. After that, we got the 4 copies of the Byakuya Kuchiki. This one's a when played. Choose one of your characters on your opponent's front line. It loses 500 BP. That's not going to be super useful. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but you essentially want to play him into your energy line. You still get the when played effect, and you're just going to lower something just to be able to get over it. But raid target as well. We got just 2 copies of the starter deck Ichigo raid. He gets the impact +1. He's not the best because you do have to get rid of 4 cards in order to actually activate his ability. And you have to do that every turn, which is not ideal. But he's still good to have an extra raid target possible. You want to be able to still raid as much as you can. We got 4 copies of the Rukia Kuchiki raid. This is a when played, draw 3, ditch 2. And you can also ditch one from your hand per turn, which is pretty good. It fills your trash up super fast. So you definitely want to play her in the early game as quickly as possible. She's kind of like your first raid target just to fill up your trash. And then you're going to bust up the big boys after that. We're running 4 copies of the Byakuya Kuchiki. Again, raid target. This is a when played. You may place 2 cards from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, all characters on your opponent's front line lose 1000 BP. So if you combo this with the other Byakuya, you could do 15 to the entire board, which is pretty good in 1 turn. Also, activate main once per turn. Place 3 cards from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, this character gains impact 1, so he's a little bit less, so only 3 instead of the 4. And when attacking, you may place 1 card from your sideline into your removal area, so it still gets up to the 4 there. However, if you do, choose one of your opponent's frontline characters, and it loses 1000. So a lot of DP reduction just from this 1 card, especially if you combo it with the other Byakuya. You can technically do 2500 to 1 person and 15 to the rest of the board. Pretty useful. Here's like the big boss of the deck. So we got 4 copies of the Ichigo Kurosaki raid. This is a when played. Place the top 2 cards from your deck into your sideline. So this immediately gets you up to at least being able to deal 1000 BP. But essentially you take as many cards as you would like from your sideline, put it into your removal area, and every single card is 500 BP destroyed to one of the opponents. Super useful. It does only target one individual, so you do have to use that sparingly on specific cards. But super effective just to kind of wipe something off the board that's really annoying. Talk about the staple that's going to be in every deck. Bankai might be called something different in different IPs. Just restands 2 APs. That's it. Pretty straightforward. Then for our option cards, I guess, or event cards, we got 3 copies of the Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. This is one that if you have Byakuya on the board, you reduce the AP cost by 1, which is pretty good. You're gonna have a Byakuya on the board quite frequently, so it's usually just going to be 1. But you have to choose one of your opponent's frontline characters. It loses 3,000 BP until the end of the turn. And choose one up to one of your opponent's front lines. It loses 1,000. So you can do 3,000 or 4,000 to one character, or 3,000 and 1,000 to another. So again, you could potentially kill at least a 4,000. And then this card is just to get over some big things. So if you're kind of getting a little bit stuck, this is what you want to play. The Getsuga Tensho. This is going to kill a 3,000, or if you have an Ichigo on the board, a 5,000. Again, this is the big stuff. You can decrease a lot of cards on the board with this entire deck. So getting a 3,000 is still going to be very effective. But if they have something that's like a 7,000 on the board, and you play this Ichigo here, and you get it down to a 5, and then you play the Getsuga, they're going to be a little frustrated, because you didn't really have to ditch that many cards initially to get it down to the 4,000, 5,000 range, and then you just play this to get rid of it. They're gonna be a little frustrated. But yeah, I'm super excited to play this deck. I actually am going to a locals event this weekend, so I'm gonna test it out. I'll post another video so you guys can see how I did in my first tournament with this. I think it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be really good deck to play. Let me know what IP you guys like the most, what you would change about this deck. Definitely want to try out different things moving forward. Maybe swap out the Oyetsu a couple times, maybe with someone else, maybe like a Renji. But we'll see how this plays. I think it's going to do very well. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.